FM News Talk 97.1.
On demand audio. Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or toll free at 866-455-9797. You're listening to The Dana Show.
And let's get right into it with our first guest to start off the week, which I think is a very great way to start off the week. Mr. Donald Trump joins us on the phone. Good afternoon to you, sir.
How are you?
I am doing very well. I've enjoyed your comments recently, and I want to pick your brain about China here momentarily. But I have to ask you very quickly, because you are obviously very much so because of Miss Universe in the pageant business. This story about Indonesia and Miss World and the banning of the bikinis and all of this. They say that it's immoral and that's why they oppose of it. So I have to ask you this, because this is what you do, this is part of your business as well. Maybe perhaps if there was a bikini portion of a pageant where they beheaded infidels, perhaps that would be more acceptable. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, look, they shouldn't have had it there. It's the Miss World contest. I own the Miss Universe contest, which is the biggest of them all. And, you just have to go to certain places. And I will tell you, we've turned down many, many countries over the years because of certain customs, and that's fine. I respect those customs, but you don't put a beauty pageant there. So they shouldn't have had it there. And they decided to do it, and maybe it'll work out, and maybe it won't work out. Who knows? The good thing is we're all talking about it.
Exactly. And I've always thought it was very tastefully done. As a female, I've never had a problem with it, and so I've just never. It's part of the scholarship. It's part of the competition. That's what they get primed to do, and it's what's expected of them. So I agree with you. I don't think that they should have had it there. Also, a story that I was reading about you this morning. You are actually turning the old historic post office in D.C. into a hotel.
That's right. We're taking that over, and we're going to make it something really, really special. It'll be one of the finest hotels perhaps in the world, and Washington can use that. And it'll be a tremendous thing. Right now it's a building that is magnificent, but it needs help.
Yeah.
And we're going to give it help times 10. So we're going to make it really beautiful and something that everybody in Washington can be very proud of.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous building. And how long what is the ETA on this? I know it's a big undertaking.
Well, I think that we're pretty much completed. I would say we should sign within the next 30 days, maybe 60 days.
Wow.
And after that, probably start construction in the next in a period shorter than 1 year.
Right.
So it's very exciting. I find that to be a very exciting job.
Well, I'm in D.C. all the time, so I will look forward to staying there.
Well, now you have a place to stay,
exactly.
a real place. That's good.
And it's a gorgeous location, gorgeous building. So,
that is true. It's one of the most beautiful buildings, actually.
It is. So it'll be nice to have that there. You have gone. You've been very critical, especially the story of China being able to access oil in the Middle East post Iraq. I want to get your perspective on this particular situation involving this whistleblower Edward Snowden and his choice to go to Hong Kong. And the reason I'm asking you this is because you have an interesting perspective on this. A lot of the discussion I'm hearing from the world of punditry is that Hong Kong, Mr. Trump, is apparently this free market oasis over in China, and because they have this quasi separate sovereignty set up, that's probably why this Edward Snowden is there. Hong Kong is great. They're free speech. They're all of this. They're not like China at all. When you hear that kind of discussion come up, how do you take that?
Well, I was very insulted because I understand how China is just taking us out to lunch and just ripping us like nobody's ever ripped us before. I mean, China's doing a number on us, and as their leader, their great leader is in this country right now. I'm sure making even better deals than they've made in the past, which is hard to believe they can. I just see so much going on with China that's so bad. Now, I respect the Chinese. I have many deals. I have deals with China. I have tenants from China. I have a lot of things going on with China. But they can't even believe what they're getting away with. So when I heard he was in, of all places, Hong Kong, I said to myself, wow, that's someplace for protection. Well, I'm not a fan of his. At the same time, I'm not a fan of all the eavesdropping. It's a lot of eavesdropping they're doing if you look at the numbers. But I am certainly not a fan of his. I watched him. I looked at him. And I think he's having a good time.
Yeah, it seems that it's very questionable that he ended up in Hong Kong. And then, of course, you have the Chinese leader over here on the West Coast with ours. They're really trying to reinvent their image as being a business-friendly, capitalistic-leaning society. But they're still not at that point, and they're still incredibly hostile to the United States. You've described before as they're sort of taunting us, so to speak. Are we frenemies, for the lack of a better term, Mr. Trump, with China?
Well, I don't even want to know if I use that term, but the fact is that they're now in Iraq doing tremendous amounts of business in terms of taking out the oil. And here we are. We spent $1.5 trillion. We lost thousands of great young people in terms of that war, the Iraq war. And we leave. We don't take 10 cents worth of oil because we're not smart enough to do that. We leave, and China moves in and they take all the oil. Now they're going to outbid ExxonMobil for another big field. They're going to end up with like 50, 60, 70% of the oil in Iraq. And they had nothing to do. They didn't lose 10 cents. They didn't lose one person. And it's really a shame. And here we are, trillions of dollars spent, thousands of lives, just death to so many young, incredible people with such great futures. And China walks in right away, right after that, and they take the oil. Now, if I'm from China, I'm saying congratulations. But if I'm from this country, I am really going to do something about it.
Yeah. A last quick question I have for you, because I know you're limited on time today. Are you exploring anything for 2016?
Well, I'm looking at what's going on with the country, and I'm always looking. And do I love what I'm doing? I just bought Doral. I told you about the old post office. I've been fixing up Doral, 800 acres in the middle of Miami, and making it. I think it'll be the finest resort in the country. Doing all of these things I love. That's what I love doing. But at the same time, I'm looking at our country going to hell. I mean, you look at what's happening. It's just one thing after another. And so I am always looking, and we'll see what happens. It's such a long way to be thinking about. So it's certainly not on the top burner. But I do watch what's going on in the country. I'm very politically active, and we'll see what happens. I just hate to see our country being taken advantage of like it is. And we have such unbelievable potential, Dana, just unbelievable, and yet we're not using it. So I'm always watching, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, your special counsel had told Huffington Post that, we didn't spend $1 million on this electoral research for it to sit on a bookshelf. It's a very serious exploration.
Well, I'm always looking, but it's if I could find somebody that was phenomenal, boy, would I like it, because we really need somebody that's really good. We cannot play these games any longer. I mean, just too many people, too many countries, too many places taking advantage of us, and too many things are going wrong in our country. So
it would take someone really. Do you have your eye on anyone in particular that you kind of think may have it?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't. I'd love to.
I know.
I really don't.
Well, it's so good to speak with you, Donald Trump. We look forward to talking with you again and watching how this hotel pans out. It'll be beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dana.
Talk soon. All right, folks, 866-455-9797. Yeah, that whole situation was it in. Why would they even have it? Why would you? Why would you have anything there? Because they rioted. What is it? Lady Gaga had a concert there, and they said it, she was going to, and they said it was immoral. All right, I would riot with you against the lady not because it's immoral, because her music, I just don't get it. It's rehashed Ace of Base, Madonna remixes. Send me the hate mail. I'll get it. That's fine. You can send it to eherman@stl.ms.com. That'll work. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, your phone call's on the way, 866-455-9797. Keep it right here. It's The Dana Show.
This is The Dana Show.